Did you run into any issues with getting this book created? If so, which one presented to be the most challenging and how did you overcome?
You want to answer that question?
No.
Yeah. All right.
Tell the world who you are.
Well, hello, everyone. My name is author T.L. Wynne, and I am the author of a children's book series called the Daddy Daughter series. The series consists of 3 books, Daddy and Me, Daddy's Day at the Park, and Daddy Daughter Day. My journey as an author began back in 2016 when I decided to write my first book. I initially wrote that book not to kind of put it out in the public, but actually as a project that I could work with my daughter. At that moment, she was probably 2 years old. Since birth, we read stories every night, going to bed. We made sure we had that routine of those. Let's go get your book for bedtime. Let's go get your book for bedtime. So it got to a point, probably about when she was around a year old. I realized there was a lot of books that were missing, books that kind of resonated with our relationship as a father, books that resonated with us as a African American household as well. So it gave me the desire to kind of write a book just for her. So I started, finding pictures, doing research on how to create a book. We kind of worked together on finding pictures that kind of captured us playing together, us at the park, us making silly faces, us doing the things that we do on a daily basis. So we used those pictures. I had a friend that was actually an illustrator that was able to work with us and making sure that our pictures came to life in the illustration format. So I started writing the story. It probably took me maybe about a month or so to kind of get the flow of the story and making sure that the illustrations and the story work together hand in hand. And I was able to present that to her after probably about 6 months of working with the illustrator, working with the publisher, trying to navigate the self-publishing aspect as well. So we finally got that final project and I shared it with her. She was excited about it. And I showed it to a few family and friends, and they made me realize how important that story was and how it should be shared with the world. So it took me a few days or a few weeks to kind of process that information, and then I realized that it was an important story, and that's when I decided to become a self-published author to share our story with the world.
What is the name of the book and who are the characters?
Well, again, it's the Daddy Daughter series. The characters, of course, is Dad, and the second character, the main character, is Amaya. I can actually. So, as you can see, here's the first book, Daddy and Me. So you can see that the character As you'll see the beautiful little girl there and her father holding a hand. And this is Daddy and me.
How long did it take and who published it?
Well, again, the process of creating the book, I really took my time in it. I wanted it to be a fun project that you and I worked on together. She was able to pick some of the colors. She was able to pick out some of the pictures that we used for the illustrations. So it was just fun spending that time together creating this project. So I would say it took probably about 6 months to kind of get that final draft of the book with the illustrations together and going back and forth with the company that we used to publish the books. That that aspect alone was it was new, so it was a lot of back and forth on making sure we had the correct pages that were needed for print and sizes and everything, and making sure that the book was done the way that I wanted it to be done.
Did you run into any issues with getting this book created? If so, which one presented to be the most challenging and how did you overcome?
You want to answer that question?
No.
Yeah. Well, as a self-published author, there's always challenges throughout the process. So there was challenges on just going through the navigating the publishing the book challenge. I would say just making sure we had a publisher that was willing to work with us, that understood the project, and also working with an illustrator could be challenging as well. So there were some moments where we, we're going back and forth, sending pictures. Some of the pictures didn't kind of represent us. So we had to kind of go back and forth to making sure that those were done in a manner that, we wanted to capture our moments together as well. So those were a couple of challenges that we had along the way. Once I decided to become an author, I think one of the biggest challenges is, you can have the project, the completed version of the project, but how do you plan to get that out to the world? So I would say that's probably the biggest challenge that's continuous, just making sure that we're using all of the resources and the tools that we can to get our story out to the world.
How does this book relate to real life children and their families?
So how does this book relate to real life children and their families?
So as a daughter, it's important to spend a lot of time with your father, and it just relates to other daughters who have a single father who spends a lot of time with them to try to make them happy and have a lot of memories.
I agree. I think it's a very important story that is shared, ensuring that fathers are out there, single fathers are out there, and I think it's important that we are able to share our experience as a father and daughter, and ensuring that others know that they're not alone, that it's other it's other fathers out there that's doing the same thing. We're spending the time with our daughters, we're spending time with our sons, we're spending time ensuring that we're setting those standards as being leaders in our homes as well. Everybody's experience is not the same, so we're just here to share our experience and our story. So the Daddy Daughter series, I think it addresses a lot of the misconceptions that society has placed for African American fathers not being present. It also addresses the misconceptions of African American families in general, that we don't do things without. There could be there's a lot of misconceptions of fathers in general not being present, African Americans not doing things with their families together, but most importantly, I think that it addresses the society need of having a positive role model in the family. Whether you're in a household with both parents, single family, you still are that role model that child is going to look up to. And that It's going to address any community issues. Having a positive role model in the home will, lead your child in the right path and in the right direction as they continue to grow. Just back in 1990, there was probably maybe about 475,000 homes that had single families, single father homes in the U.S. And I think the statistics show back in 2021 there was about 1.2 million homes that had single families, single family homes that had single fathers there. So those numbers are increasing. So this is something that's in the community, is present in the community. So I think that this story shows that we are out there, we're doing what we're supposed to do. And this should also show that, that these fathers need something that they can know, that they can have these stories to read with their child. They don't have to go and search around for stories like I had to do, or create their own. So these stories are available, so you can get those routines of reading these stories with your little ones before bed, and then they growing up and are able to read those stories to you. I think that was one of the most rewarding aspects of when she was able to start reading, she was able to start reading these stories to me. So that was rewarding. I started reading the story to her, and then a few months later she knew the story, she ran and got the book, and she started reading it to me. So I kind of got a bedtime story after that. So it was fun. Like I said, it was a good experience doing this.
Where can people purchase your book?
The books are available on my website, which is imeinitiative.com. All of the books are there. We have 3 books. They come in paperback and hardcover. We also have a coloring book that's associated with each of the books as well. So if you have a little creative that enjoyed the book, they can go and start getting the coloring books and start illustrating, having fun. That's another aspect that you can use after you read the story. You can have them start creating things that you guys do together as well. So it's very hands-on. It's very important to it will extend the reading time to creative time. So, you can read a book in about 5 or 10 minutes, but then an additional 10, 15 minutes you can spend coloring together, talking about the book together, and that will expand on that quality time that's needed. That's all the questions. Anything you want to add?
Which book do you want to read? Daddy's Day at the Park, Daddy-Daughter Day, or Daddy and Me? Yeah, I knew you were going to pick the princess one. Daddy and Me, yeah. Morning time, says Amaya, as the sun shines through the window where she lay. She hopped out of bed with a smile on her face, excited to start her day. She picked out a dress that was pink because it was also her favorite color. She brushed her teeth and washed her face without any help from her mother. She didn't sit at the table for breakfast or even turn on her TV. She had a feeling of excitement, an exciting day ahead, and just couldn't wait to see. She waved goodbye to her brother. She hugged and kissed her mother. She told her mom, "Don't wait up for me. I'm enjoying my day with just Daddy and me." The end. You see Daddy and Princess? Daddy and Me. The end. Did you like the book? All right, Princess. Where are you trying to go? You ready to get a muffin? I told you we was going to get muffin. You trying to get to the muffin. Okay, we're going to get you a muffin. Okay, princess.
Look at there.
Oh, yeah, you see food. Okay, we're gonna.
Hey, how you doing? Welcome back to the Reader's Choice. This is Tina Presley with husband,
Anthony.
and we are here today with Bible band topic: forgiveness. The F word. That's a curse word to people who believe in revenge. Forgiveness. Can you say it?
Forgiveness.
Forgiveness.
That's right.
Go ahead and say it again.
Forgiveness. You gotta be able to get it out. You gotta be able to actually forgive.
You have to practice saying it in the mirror before you actually go out and actually forgive someone. Forgiveness. I forgive you. Practice saying it. I forgive you.
I forgive you.
Say it again. I like it.
I forgive you.
I forgive you
I forgive you.
for everything.
You cute too.
For leaving clothes on the floor.
Oh, I do that.
You forgive me?
I do. I do.
So I like this topic because this topic can set you free. There is a scripture I'm going to read, and then I'm going to ask you to just give me some off the top of your head. Okay?
Okay.
But mine comes from Matthew, the book of Matthew in the New Testament, the 6th chapter and the 15th verse. And you guys probably know this.
That's good.
It says, "But if ye forgive not men their trespasses, neither will your Father forgive your trespasses."
That's right.
Whoa.
That's serious.
What does that mean?
It means forgiveness is an absolute requirement. See, Jesus gave us a gift, and it was a huge gift, the biggest gift we could possibly get, and that is He took away our sins, and He took them away in advance. So He's saying, if I did all of that, then there's one requirement that I have of you. You have to be able to forgive other people, because they did less to you than what you've done to the kingdom, I should say. Or, in other words, it's required. It's something that's important, and if you can't forgive, then how can you qualify for God's great forgiveness?
So people really do that in real life?
It's a requirement. Once you are saved, the Spirit in you changes, and God starts to require you to do things, and you'll start feeling things that you didn't know that didn't come from you, and forgiveness will come out. The Spirit will move on you in the right times. You know, I think it was Peter, one of the disciples, probably Peter. Peter was the one that normally was doing the talking, that said, "Jesus, how many times am I required to forgive somebody?" In other words, he was tired. He had somebody on his mind like, this dude owe me money. This dude done did this. This done did. I keep forgiving. It's probably like a family member. It's probably his cousin.
Let's do the math. Quantify it.
He told him 70 times 7.
He told Jesus to quantify it.
Yeah.
I need
He said,
to know
how many times? What's the
down.
number? And Jesus said, he said 7 times, Jesus? Because you know that's the number of the Bible, 7. Can I cut people off after they have messed up 7 times? And Jesus said 70 times 7, which is being metaphoric. He was saying you have to forgive forever.
Wait.
70 times 7.
He did give us numbers. Hold on.
It's 490.
490.
Yeah, he said 70 times 7. That's
Calculator.
490.
700 calculator. I need to verify that number.
It's 490.
70 times 70. You done went over 490 times.
Jesus says, and Jesus was saying you have to forgive forever. Forever.
Forever.
Forever. All of it. That's right.
Would you forgive me forever? How many times would you forgive me?
489. Nah, forgive me forever.
Oh, man. Wow.
It's a powerful topic. It's something that God is going to cause you to do. Many people who are watching this video are already saved. You're filled with the Holy Spirit. Listen, you've already seen the Spirit moving in your life. And as you grow in that, you're going to see that God's going to start shaving things off of you. And a lot of what He's going to start with will be guilt, forgiveness of yourself, or things you're holding against other people. Even things that are completely justified, God's going to require you to forgive them. First of all, it's a weight on you. It's a weight on your own heart. So by you releasing them, you're releasing yourself. But beyond that, Jesus says, I forgave you, so you have to forgive as well. He says it all over the place. And even in the Lord's Prayer, we call it the Lord's Prayer, He says that you have to forgive as you are being forgiven. Forgive us our debts as we forgive our debtors. Forgive us our trespasses as we forgive our trespassers, which means we qualify for forgiveness at the same time that we're forgiving others. There's a really major story, parable in the Bible that Jesus tells about a man that was forgiven of great debt. He owed a king or somebody important a whole lot of money, and he begged before the king, "Don't throw me in jail. Just give me time or whatever it is I can do." And the king waived the whole thing. He says, "You know what? I feel so bad for you because you were begging. You know what? You're not going to jail. I release you completely." But then that same man went and found somebody that owed him a much smaller amount than what he owed, and grabbed that man, threw him in jail because he couldn't pay, even though that man begged him as well. And so what happened to that man? Do you remember?
He had to go do time.
Oh, yes. When the king found out that the man who had been forgiven for the big amount did what he did to the man who owed him less, the king took him and threw him in jail.
I want my money.
He said, until you pay it off. And Jesus was using that as an example to show us that we owe Jesus more.
Way more.
Than anybody could possibly owe us, no matter how bad they did. And so, because of that, Jesus always will take the worst of the burden and give you the lighter one. He's saying, you forgive those here on earth, just like I forgave you. Because my forgiveness comes with an entire kingdom. You will rule and reign with Christ, even though your righteousness is as filthy rags. You don't deserve this, but because of my forgiveness, I'm going to bring you into heaven and let you rule and reign with me. You don't qualify. So, since I'm forgiving you this great thing, you can forgive these people of the small things.
So nobody really has the right to hold a debt or hold anybody hostage because of an offense. Because we're all redeemed.
That's right. It even goes on after that. It says, judge not lest you be judged. You can see what Jesus is talking about. You can't even put judgment on people. You don't know what they're going through. You don't know why they made the decision that they made. But if you continue to put judgment on them, and I've been reading and studying this extensively, and I think you read a book from Perry Stone that talks about it, but if you put judgment on other people, guess what's going to happen?
It's coming right back to your
God's going to put that same thing on you, that same pressure. You judge somebody for some sin that they fell into, you don't know what they went through or why or what decision they made. God will cause those same decisions that you have to make and see how well you do.
Wow.
And most often, if not always, if you do that, you'll probably fail that test, the same test. We have to forgive and we can't judge.
So forgiveness is a real thing.
No, it's important. It's one of the vital things of the Bible. The Bible even says, Jesus says, even if you're given a gift, forgiveness is more important than a gift. It says, if you bring a gift to the altar, do what? If you have
Lay
an
it
ought,
down.
That's right. If you have an ought against your brother, if you have beef with somebody else in the body of Christ, if you have beef with anybody, it says, don't even give me your gift. Leave it at the altar so you don't get tempted to take it yourself. Just leave it here. But go back and make it right with them. Then come back and offer it so that I can receive it. Otherwise, I'm not interested in your gift because you still have unforgiveness in your heart. That's deep.
Wow. A true characteristic of a saint.
Yes.
So, someone is racist to you.
Tough one. How do you
does
forgive a
something
racist?
that makes you feel inhumane.
How about
wrongs you.
let's take it to the worst extreme. Botham John. Botham John.
Wait, I was gonna say someone is racist.
Mm-hmm.
Someone is racist, right? Someone does something that just makes you feel low, makes you feel like you're not even a human being. They don't give you the respect a human deserves. Maybe they call you the N-word while you're driving in your car, or maybe they profile you.
You have to forgive them too.
And you walk away, they walk away. Instead of cursing them out, you go back in your car and you say, Lord, forgive them.
For they know not what they do.
And instead of getting on the phone and talking about this stranger that just wronged you, you say to yourself, I forgive him or her.
That's right. That's right.
For how they trespass against me.
That's right.
For the offense.
That's right.
And the spirit of offense will not overtake me in this moment. It will not define how I feel about myself. It will not define who I am.
That's right.
Or dictate to me how I should feel about myself.
That's right. That can ruin your day, ruin the rest of your week.
Right.
We can ruin a lot by holding on to a spirit of offense. Let it go. One extreme example we can give is Botham John. That one hit me.
Wait, could you be Botham John?
Botham
John is dead.
Yeah. No, but the situation.
Ain't no forgiving for him.
No, not for him.
I mean, in this lifetime. Maybe on the other side he forgave.
But his brother and what he did. So the situation here is where a white cop shot a black man for no reason.
So this happened in Dallas, Texas. A woman that was a non-minority walked into his apartment assuming that it was hers and killed him under the pretense of, was it self-defense? We don't know.
It's one of those situations where it doesn't make sense. And this man lost his life. And it's such a sensitive subject in our community because of how often we see this. And so this is a collective requirement of forgiveness of the Christian church, because we all had to feel that. So after this goes down, and this is one of the few instances where we actually see where the cop is actually going to go to jail, where the cop is actually punished. During the trial, before the cop is punished, the brother executes such passion. He allows the Spirit of God to overcome him at that moment and verbally and publicly forgives her.